If you see something floating in the air, you need to get out immediately. This is not a drill, and it is not something your mind is making up. Every year, reports slip through the cracks about people encountering unexplained phenomena, particularly objects or entities suspended in midair without any logical reason. Not every story ends with an escape. Some never end at all. If you have ever trusted one piece of advice from a stranger, trust this. When you witness the air shifting unnaturally, when shapes start to dance where gravity should rule, you must not hesitate. Every second you waste staring might be your last chance to move. I was once a skeptic until I lived through it myself, and barely made it out to tell you what happened. Now, whenever I feel the air fall too still, I remember what I saw, and what it almost cost me. My name is Patrick Holloway, and growing up, I lived in the small, weather-beaten town of Harrison. Summers there were thick with heat, and the skies stretched endlessly, a perfect canvas for childhood adventures. My sister Claire and I spent hours chasing kites and tossing paper planes across our backyard, believing the open sky belonged to us. There was a kind of magic to it, a belief that nothing dangerous could ever come from the air. Harrison had one peculiar feature that set it apart. At the edge of town, past the old railroad tracks, sat an abandoned weather research station. For years, it had been closed off with rusted fences and "keep out" signs, but rumors whispered that strange things sometimes hovered around the station. Local kids said it was just leftover experiments, magnetic fields, or broken drones. No one took it seriously. Neither did I. Everything changed one July afternoon. The air had a strange thickness to it, like something pressing down invisibly from above. Not a single bird sang. Even the wind refused to blow. My best friend, Daniel Mercer, had dared me to sneak up to the fence surrounding the station and look over. Always too proud to back down from a challenge, I accepted. Claire tried to talk me out of it, but I was determined. When we arrived, the entire place felt wrong. Grass lay flattened in odd swirling patterns. The clouds hung lower than they should have, bloated and heavy. In the silence, even our breathing seemed too loud. Daniel threw a rock over the fence, laughing nervously. Nothing happened. Feeling emboldened, I grabbed the lowest bar of the gate and pulled myself up to peek inside. Hovering 20 feet above the cracked asphalt courtyard was something I will never forget. It looked like a bundle of wires and skin, wrapped tightly together, pulsating slowly. It floated perfectly still, unaffected by gravity or breeze. Strands of what appeared to be hair dangled from its core, twitching in a breeze that did not exist. I dropped from the fence immediately, my heart pounding against my ribs. "We need to go," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Daniel laughed it off, calling it probably a prank or drone. But Claire grabbed my arm, her fingers digging into my skin. "It saw us," she said. Her voice did not waver. We ran, feeling the air grow heavier with every step away from the station. That night, I dreamed of floating. Days passed. Summer should have been about fireworks and ice cream, but an invisible weight hung over Harrison. More and more kids talked about seeing strange shapes floating at the edges of town. Teachers mentioned air anomalies and shrugged them off with tight smiles. Daniel became obsessed. He spent evenings near the fence with binoculars, sketching what he saw. He claimed the floating things were multiplying, learning, reaching farther. Claire refused to leave the house after sundown. My parents, unaware of what we had seen, thought we were just being dramatic. Then, the disappearances began. At first, it was animals. Dogs, cats, even birds vanished without trace. Then it was a boy named Elijah, who had been seen last riding his bike near the station. The town tried to blame coyotes or sinkholes. Deep down, everyone knew something was wrong. Late one evening, as the sun drowned in red clouds, Daniel banged on my window. His face was pale, drenched in sweat. "You need to see this," he said. Foolishly, I followed. We sneaked back to the fence. The courtyard was filled with dozens of floating things now. Some hovered just above the ground. Some twisted lazily against an unseen current. One of them drifted closer to the fence. Without warning, Daniel climbed over. "Come back," I hissed. He waved me off, approaching the nearest entity like a moth to flame. As he reached out to touch it, the air around him rippled. The thing responded instantly. Its tendrils lashed out, wrapping around his arm. Daniel screamed, not in pain, but in ecstasy. "It is beautiful," he cried, his voice unnaturally high. Before I could react, he floated upward, his feet leaving the cracked ground, his body dangling like a puppet. I ran. Panic gripped Harrison. More people disappeared. Warnings were posted. Stay indoors after sunset. Report unusual phenomena. Officials blamed sinkholes and electrical malfunctions. No one dared to mention what they had truly seen. Claire withdrew even further. She barricaded her windows, carried a whistle around her neck, and refused to be alone. I tried to act normal, but the images of Daniel floating haunted every moment. One night, Claire shook me awake. "It is outside," she whispered. I sat up, heart thundering. Peering through the curtains, I saw it. A shape, dark against the navy sky, hovering just beyond our backyard fence. It was waiting. Claire clutched my hand. "If you look at it," she said, "you cannot stop." We backed away slowly. The moment we broke eye contact, it surged forward, slamming into the fence with a noise like tearing metal. We fled to the basement, hearts hammering. Upstairs, the house shuddered as if under assault. Morning came. The shape was gone. The fence was twisted and scorched. We knew we could not stay. Plans were made hastily. My parents, finally aware something was very wrong, agreed to move. Claire and I packed in silence, every creak of the floorboards sending fear spiking through us. The night before we left, I made a mistake. I went back. Guilt gnawed at me. I needed to know if Daniel was still there, if anything could be done. Foolishly, I believed I could sneak in and out unnoticed. The station courtyard was worse than before. The floating things now formed patterns, spiraling in slow, ominous circles. From the center rose a single towering figure, taller than the buildings around it, its body shimmering like oil on water. It was aware. It turned toward me. I ran, but the air itself fought me. Each step felt like wading through syrup. My lungs burned. My vision blurred. A voice echoed in my mind. "Sit, float, belong." I staggered forward, every fiber of my being screaming for me to stop, to give in. Somehow, I reached the edge of the field. The pull weakened. I stumbled into the woods and collapsed. When I awoke, Claire and my parents were shaking me, terror etched across their faces. They had found me barely conscious near the treeline. We left Harriston that day. Years have passed. New cities, new lives. But sometimes, when the air falls too still and the world seems to pause, I remember. I never saw Daniel again. Reports surface occasionally. Strange floating shapes near old towns, near abandoned fields, near weather stations. Warnings are issued, quickly buried by local officials. I know the truth. I saw what they become. If you see something floating in the air, get out immediately. Do not stare. Do not wonder. Do not wait.